Credit card companies make over $450 billion a year from interest and fees, and none of that happens by accident. Every small fee, fine print clause, and payment deadline is crafted with precision. It's not just a card, it's a system, one designed to profit when people don't fully understand it. But that changes now. This isn't a rant, it's a breakdown, a real look at how credit card systems are designed to quietly siphon money from your everyday purchases and payment habits, and how to flip those same tactics into your advantage. Let's go straight into the first secret banks hope never gets discussed. Secret 1, the minimum payment trap. That number on your statement each month? The one that says minimum payment due? That's not a helpful suggestion. It's bait. Let's break this down with an example. Say someone has a $5,000 balance on a card with a 20% APR. The statement says the minimum due is just $100. Sounds manageable, right? But paying just that amount stretches the debt across more than 5 years. That's over 60 months. And by the time it's paid off, more than $6,000 in interest will have been added. That $5,000 balance ends up costing over $11,000. Now, if that same person pays $200 instead of $100, the time to pay off the balance drops to about 30 months, and the total interest falls to around $2,000. A $300 payment? It clears in under 19 months, and interest shrinks to just about $1,000. Banks know this. The minimum isn't there to help people, it's there to trap them in what's called negative amortization, where interest builds faster than the principal disappears. Every dollar above the minimum goes straight toward breaking the cycle. Even an extra $10 per month cuts down months of payments and hundreds in interest. The system relies on people sticking to the bare minimum, but once that minimum is treated as the bank's profit zone, it becomes easier to push back. Secret 2, the APR illusion. APR, or annual percentage rate, is supposed to help people compare credit cards fairly. It looks like a simple number, 15%, 19%, maybe 22%. But behind that number is a maze of fees, conditions, and misleading setups. Let's look at what APR really means. It's the cost of borrowing for 1 year, expressed as a percentage. But what people actually pay depends on when interest compounds. A PR doesn't account for that. A PY does. And that's where things get fuzzy. Take a card that advertises a 22.9% APR. That might seem high, but still clear. Now realize it's actually compounding daily. The real annual cost becomes around 25.7%. That's almost 3% higher than advertised, and most users have no idea. Then there's the variation in rates. That 12% starting rate on the credit card offer, it's usually reserved for those with perfect credit. Most people end up getting 18% to 25%, depending on their score. Late just once, penalty APR kicks in. That's not 22%. It can go to 29.99% or higher, and it sticks for months. Then there's the teaser APR trick. A card might offer 0% APR for 6 months or 12 months. Sounds amazing until that promotional period ends. And if even a single dollar remains unpaid, interest is applied retroactively. That means every month that was supposed to be free is now backdated with high interest. So APR isn't a number to trust blindly. It's more like a starting point, one that can shift fast and cost far more than expected. Secret 3, the sign-up bonus trap. Getting a new credit card offer with a big reward up front feels like winning. 75,000 points, $500 cash back, free flights. It's tempting, but it's also a trap. Here's how it usually works. The bonus is real, but it comes with a requirement. Spend $5,000 in the first 90 days, and the bonus is yours. The problem is, that goal often pushes people into spending more than they normally would. Let's say someone signs up, hits the $5,000 spend exactly, and earns their 75,000 points, but they don't or can't pay the balance off right away. Now interest kicks in. At 20% APR, that balance accrues about $1,000 in interest within a year. Suddenly, that free bonus isn't so free anymore. That's the core of the trap. Banks know many people won't pay it off in full, and the interest they earn often outweighs the bonus cost. To use sign-up bonuses smartly, the key is to only apply for cards that match regular spending. Pay off the full amount before the promo window closes, and once the bonus is earned, closing the card can be a smart move, especially if there's an annual fee waiting in year 2. It's not that the bonuses are fake, it's that the bank is betting people won't play it perfectly, but those who do, win. Secret 4, the credit utilization game. Credit utilization might sound technical, but it's one of the biggest levers in a credit score, and it's also one of the easiest to manipulate once the rules are clear. Here's how it works. Utilization is the percentage of credit currently being used. Have a $10,000 limit and carry a $3,000 balance. That's 30% utilization. That's fine. But a $9,000 balance on that same limit? That's 90%, and that crushes credit scores. The kicker is this. Credit bureaus take a snapshot on the statement closing date, not the due date. Someone could pay off their card in full a few days later, and it won't matter. On paper, it still looks maxed out. That's why timing matters. To lower reported utilization, most of the balance should be paid off before the statement closes. Even if the rest is paid a few days later, the credit report will show a lower balance. That means higher credit scores and better rates from future lenders. Using multiple cards can also help. Spread spending across different lines of credit instead of stacking one. And if the credit score is in good shape, requesting credit limit increases without a hard pull lowers utilization overnight. It's not about paying less, it's about showing less on paper because that's what the system sees. Most people assume their credit score is only affected when they miss payments, but in reality, utilization alone can swing a score by 50 to even 100 points. That one factor can determine the interest rate on a mortgage, auto loan, or even a new phone plan. What makes it tricky is how invisible it feels. A balance could be paid off every month, never carry interest, and still hurt a score just because it was reported at the wrong moment. That's why timing the payoff is more important than the due date itself. Say a statement closes on the 15th of every month. If the balance is paid down to near zero by the 14th, that month's credit snapshot shows low utilization. If the payment waits until the 16th, even if paid in full, utilization appears high and the score reflects it. A smart way to manage credit utilization is the split payment method. Pay most of the balance before the statement closes, then the rest before the due date. It lowers reported usage and avoids interest. Requesting a credit limit increase also helps, reducing utilization without extra spending. Many issuers offer this online without a hard pull. Rotating card use and keeping old accounts open boosts available credit and keeps scores healthy. Utilization isn't just a percentage, it's a signal. Low usage shows control, builds trust with lenders, and leads to better rates. Playing the system right makes a big difference over time. Secret 5. The rewards currency illusion. Credit card rewards sound like a win. Spend money, get points. Who wouldn't want free cash or travel perks? But that 1% cash back, that's just spare change. The bank already took merchant fees, possibly invested the float, and gained data on spending habits. That 1% is crumbs from a larger pie. And it's not always 1%. Many points-based systems offer airline miles or hotel rewards that fluctuate in value. Sometimes they're worth a lot, sometimes almost nothing. A point might be worth 2 cents today and half a cent next week depending on how it's redeemed. Cashback is simple, it's predictable, but it's also easy to misuse. Some programs require activation or rotating categories. 5% back on gas sounds great until realizing it caps at $100 per quarter. After that, it drops to 1%, but the habit might already be locked in. There's also the risk of losing rewards. A late payment or closed account can erase everything earned. So the bank gives with one hand, but can take it all back with the other. The real way to win with rewards: only use cards for things already budgeted. Never chase rewards, use them. Don't let them use spending behavior. Secret 6. The balance transfer bait. Balance transfers can seem like a way out. 0% APR for 12 months on an existing balance? It feels like breathing room. But there's a catch. Almost every balance transfer comes with a fee, usually 3% of the amount moved, so transferring a $5,000 balance comes with a $150 fee. On paper, that's still better than 20% APR, but only if the balance is paid off before the 0% period ends. If it's not, interest starts up again, sometimes even retroactively depending on the terms. Also, any new purchases made on that same card often start accruing interest immediately, because the 0% rate applies only to the transfer, not new spending. So unless the plan is airtight, no new charges, full payoff before the promo ends, and understanding of the fees, it can become another trap disguised as a solution. Used wisely, balance transfers are a lifeline. Used carelessly, they become a reroute back into the same pit. What most people don't realize is how time-sensitive balance transfers are. The 0% clock starts ticking the day the transfer is approved, not when the first payment is due. That small gap catches many off guard. Some cards advertise 0% for 12 months, but interest begins on day 366 if even a single cent remains unpaid. And once it starts, it doesn't just apply to the leftover amount, it can apply to the original total, backdated all the way to day 1. That's how someone could end up paying $800 in surprise interest after thinking they were in the clear. Then there's the payment allocation issue. Many cards apply payments to the balance with the lowest interest rate first. So if a card has both a 0% balance transfer and a new purchase at 20%, every dollar paid goes toward the transfer. Meanwhile, the purchase racks up interest unchecked. That's legal, but it's rarely explained up front. Even the transfer itself isn't always instant. Some issuers take days or even weeks to process it. If the old balance accrues interest during that time, that's another chunk added to the final amount. Now imagine this stacked on top of a promo that lasts only 6 months. Suddenly, what looked like a generous grace period shrinks into a window barely wide enough to escape. Plus, balance transfer fees themselves can be tricky. Some cards say as low as 3%, but charge 5% depending on the credit score or amount transferred. That's $250 on a $5,000 transfer. Not small change. And it's not just about the fee. Transferring debt doesn't erase it. It only moves it. And for some, that fresh start feeling becomes an excuse to keep spending, which just stacks more debt on top of the problem that was never fully resolved. Even worse, transferring a balance can affect credit utilization. If the new card has a lower limit than the previous one, the same balance now takes up a higher percentage of the available credit, dragging down the score in the process. There's also a temptation to juggle, transfer from one card to another every year to avoid interest forever. But eventually, that strategy collapses when an application is denied, a promo is shortened, or a credit limit is too low to absorb the balance. In that moment, what was once a smart shuffle turns into a corner with no exit. The real power of a balance transfer is strategy. It's a bridge, not a vacation. It's designed to give breathing room while the core issue, high debt, is aggressively tackled. It works only if spending stops, payments increase, and the calendar is respected like a countdown timer. And like every other credit card offer, the fine print matters more than the headline. Balance transfers are one of the most marketed tools in a credit card's arsenal. They're pushed hard because they work. For banks, they attract people in debt, charge them a fee, and then make interest on those who miscalculate the timeline. But when approached with discipline, timing, and a full understanding of the terms, that same tool can cut thousands in interest and turn a sinking ship into a manageable plan. If this breakdown was helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe for more in-depth financial insights, and drop a comment below on which secret caught you off guard the most.